The Monsters Who Watch Us. This is an English translation of Sergei Sergeyevich Brekhonovich's journal, a scientist who experimented with the dead. Journal entry number 1, June 4th, 1949. This journal is about my experiments with the revival of organisms. I have already experimented with dogs and animals, but who would have thought that the autojector could work on humans as well as animals? But where did that dog go to? Only time will tell when I do this experiment. Journal entry number 2, June 6th, 1949. Entry number 2.0. My hypothesis was correct after all. The autojector has worked. All the test subjects, mainly dead people, came back to life. I noticed that most of these test subjects have bad motor skills, and my diagnosis says they have mental retardation, but they are good and healthy. They are being fed vegetables for the time being because I don't know if they will react badly to meat. It is possible that they can relearn how to be like a normal human, but not for now. Bye. Audio recording number 1, June 16th, 1949. Audio feedback. The test subjects seem to be getting smarter as we speak. Last week we spoke with one of the subjects and it responded with a grunt and a scream. We got out of there quickly. We decided today to open one of the subjects' cell doors again and try to see if he responds differently to be presence. Well, open the damn door. Audio recording over. Journal entry number 3, July 1st, 1949. My God, this day has been great so far. The subjects have greatly improved in basic skills and even speak like regular adults. They have been learning about simple shapes and letters. But some of the other subjects became feral, so we had to shoot the damn things. Other than that, most of the subjects were alright. Journal number 4, July 6th, 1949. This is a sad day. One of our staff was found dead in his house, along with his wife and 3 kids. He was found with his own hunting knife in his chest, while his wife and kids had slashes on their chests. We mourn for the man. The weird thing is that he died the same day an incident that happened in the lab. While working on a subject, the power went out and screams were heard. It sounded like one of the subjects. All of a sudden the subject jumped on me, trying to claw my eyes out, but the guard then shot the thing in the head. All the other subjects were frightened. I then calmed them down and looked at the subject. His face looked deformed and seemed to have no eyes in the front, but had them at the side of his head, and seemed to have blood all over his body, but it wasn't his. I'll write the next journal later. For now, bye. Journal entry number 5, July 17th, 1949. The subjects are now showing results of high intelligence. They even made their own weapons, which were knives, dynamite and spears. After finding out they were arming themselves, we took their weapons and destroyed them. I then noticed that the subjects became more intelligent, but way more violent and feral, and even started messing up their faces, similar to the one I encountered the other time. A staff member went in subject's number 5 cell and tried to shoot one of the subjects, but the creature, and yes, I'm calling it creature, jumped on him and proceeded to rip his head apart and eat his brains until it was all gone. I'm in fact regretting ever doing this project in the first place. Journal entry number 6. October 24th, 1949. Those useless pieces of shit stole my research. I just got back home and realised my house was ransacked. Nothing important was taken except my research and hunting knives. The next day I went to the lab and found that most of my staff were worried and scared. I was then told that almost all the subjects were not in their cells. I told all my staff that my research was stolen. My research was about how to replicate the damn things, because all the males were infertile and couldn't reproduce. I actually found out how to replicate them, but since they possibly have it, I don't have to worry about that. We called the Soviet army and told them to look for the things. My God. Journal entry number 8. 1951. Have you easily forgot about us, Sergei? Have you forgot that we're demons hiding behind flesh and bone? You can never escape, Sergei. We know where you are. We see you every day and night. Must you hide from us? Your past? Fuck you. Fuck all the scientists. You are all cowards. We are thy wolf, and you are thy lamb. We will take over this realm of being. Nothing can stop us. Journal entry number 9, May 20th, 1956. Oh Jesus, I just looked at my journal and found the entry from what I suspect from January 1951. They're after me, but for some reason won't kill me. I know that they just want me to go crazy, but I won't. Almost all the staff who worked on the experiment either left or were found dead with stab wounds in their head or chest. Dear Lord, help us all. Journal entry number 10, April 17th, 1960. Well, I think this is actually the end, but the creatures won't kill me. But I know I'm going to die from old age or to be murdered, but at least I'll be free. Here are some rules of if you see these creatures. Number 1. If you see the monster far away and it doesn't notice you, then run away to a car or a populated area. If it does see you from a far distance, it will slowly walk towards you. Do the same as step 1. Number 3. If it sees you and it's not as close, but close enough to run and catch you, grab the nearest stick, pipe, or I don't know, just grab something and run. It will start chasing you, but if it jumps on you, fight it. Number 4. If there are no weapons around and the thing is extremely close, then just accept death. Pray to God, Buddha, Allah, or whoever. Just let the thing kill you, because there is no escape. Sergei died 3 days later. Malevolence. Before you read the following entries, I have left this explanation to possibly aid in the understanding and possibly the vaccination of this disease. I must brief, as the maddening darkness is enveloping the last bit of my sanity. This pandemic has been called Pathogen 000. So far as I've been able to tell, the first signs of infection are extreme insomnia. I haven't slept in 3 weeks. Then paranoia, which progresses into schizophrenia. I've been suppressing the earlier as well as the latter symptoms using simple household Tylenol and aspirin. Why these hinder the progression, I do not know, but I'm afraid that's the only effect they have. They do not serve as a cure. I believe I am the only person who is still alive in this area. Please, get to my writings before they get me. I've been hearing them and seeing them waiting outside the windows of this office. They whisper in my ears constantly. I'm getting sleepy and hungry. I hope that other people in the office don't mind if I raid the fridge. Entry 1. Date: April 28th, 2013. My name is Clayton Huff. I am 15 years old. My mother, my sister, my brother and I have just been moved to a housing unit in the southern region of a little town called Salina, next to the border of the quarantine wall. Just as things were calming down amongst ourselves, we have been told we are going to be evacuated in a couple of hours on account of the number of infected congregating on the other side of the wall. From what I've seen, this virus doesn't reanimate corpses like in the movies, thus complicating the situation. It mutates the body and warps the mind. The scientists call it Pathogen 000. I call it Malevolence. My father became infected a month ago, and before he had an aneurysm and died of a brain hemorrhage. He almost strangled me to death. After breaking the fingers on my left hand, he lost it. Anyway, we're being moved to another quarantine area. I will know more later on. End of entry. Entry 2. Date: April 29th, 2013. And so the 5th journey begins. Yes, this is the 5th time I've been evacuated, but the first time I've seen the firing squad that accompanied our group and the white coats shooting at the infected. They had to kill 2 of them. They literally had to empty a machine gun on those things. They were huge. One of them had blade-like claws on one hand. The doctors explained that those creatures were rare cases of extreme mutation and we were lucky to have experienced those creatures, as opposed to other things he had seen. He cut off there. We stopped at an empty gas station. Mother looked at me and my siblings and smiled, asking us if we'd like something to eat. We all got our favourite drinks and snacks, while the soldiers gathered the necessities for us. I made it a point to inquire about the next location and what it was like, as we are normally told before we leave. We received no briefing. I thought nothing of it until I heard the white coat's answer. He said that the next place was an underground acropolis and gave no further information to me. I don't like this at all, but maybe I'm just overthinking it. End of entry. Entry 3, date May 3rd, 2013. We arrived at this so-called acropolis a couple of minutes ago, and we're being lined up to go inside. I'm writing as we enter this massive door and through this corridor. It's filled with all sorts of doors and hallways. I'm unsure of where we're being led to, but that uneasy feeling I got when I was in the bus is back, and now more so than ever. End of entry. Entry 4, date May 10th, 2013. They're dead. All of them are dead. They were all shot down by an array of machine guns. They grabbed me and my sister just before the bullets reached our path. They took us into a lab. They put me to sleep. God knows what they did to my poor sister while I was out. I found out later though, while they were throwing out biohazardous materials in a large cart, she was laying on top of all the garbage, as if they put her there deliberately for me to see. I lost my shit and just about killed the doctor nearest me until he jabbed a syringe into my neck before I could even get off the stretcher I was sitting on. When she passed the window, I've been asking around about what happened and why it happened, and all they told me were that we were risk factors, and the only place the pathogen wasn't found was in me and my sister. That was until they used a bunch of experimental cures on us to find out. My poor baby sister caught the worst of the side effects. Her heart exploded. I didn't even get to mourn or say goodbye. End of entry. Entry 5, date May 20th, 2013. I was going to quit writing until I started hearing things whispering in my ear. As soon as this started, I knew my days were numbered. But until then, I'll just enjoy the company of my family and the shadow people outside the glass. I don't remember what day it is. I don't remember where I am. Sleep is impossible. If I go to sleep, I'll get caught by the white shadow people, who I think are the doctors. If I sleep, I'll have to start over again. I'll have to reassess everything I already know. I played with my sister, Kylie, today. She found some new toys to play with outside the cell. I see it all the way it is now. The people are trying to kill us, infect us with their awful virus. No cure, no cure, no cure, no cure, no cure. It said it won't let go. It likes my blood, and it likes living there. It said it was lonely. I let it in when I was weak, and it brought my family back to me. That was nice, wasn't it? Humans are evil. I see them for what they are now. Nothing is good in this world. It's all just an illusion. Malevolence is my only friend. Can't trust anyone. So hungry. Entry? Question mark. Date? Question mark. I don't remember anything. I've been reading what I'm saying and I'm kind of scared. Mum, Kylie and my brother Cade are dead. They're not real anymore. Yet I see them walking around constantly. I've been under close observation and I'm extremely paranoid. When the doctors come in to ask their questions, I don't speak. I don't trust them. They don't want a cure. They want a result. This was no attempt at keeping us safe. They just needed to thin out the crowd. They wanted me because of what used to be my optimal health and longevity. Kylie was too young. Mum was too old. Cade just got caught in the crossfire. But I was perfect. A fucking guinea pig. I've also taken to scrawling random things on the wall. Like random sayings. Things I've been hearing. It speaks to me. I have no idea what's going on. I think I'll try to sleep. End. Alone. Date? Question mark. I wake up and find that they're all gone. No one is here. There are corpses littering the following hallways, but no one is alive. I can hear growling and scraping in the vents. I'm minus a couple of teeth and fingers. I saw myself walking across the hall. I waved at myself, and then I pulled a switch of sorts. I heard a loud whisper, "Run!" That's all I remember. I looked in the mirror and found scars on my face, as if I were cut by a wild cat. I hear them in the walls. They crawl and roar. They scratch and leave marks on the walls. I find myself looking around and all I see is blood and claw marks everywhere. This couldn't be my doing, but it faded, like it never happened. My writing doesn't make sense anymore. I'm just typing off the top of my head now. I'm going to go find an office for a computer to put my writings on, so I can email my story to someone. Maybe someone will care. I'll probably have to gather what's left of my mind and put some sort of justification or explanation at the beginning of this little memoir. Question marks, question marks. Found an office and a computer. Staring at the screensaver is surprisingly comforting. The auditory hallucinations are getting louder, more erratic and rapid, and I think there are more voices speaking at once than before. I can't tell what's real. I keep playing with my sister and hanging out with my family, but they seem so real. I can hear them and touch them, but I can't tell. I keep seeing other things as well. I can touch them too. But when I do, I always end up in some sort of distorted, screwed up reality. I've been mutilating myself. I'm insane, but I'm still here. I don't feel pain. I bit off my left thumb. I like fingers. I've been hoarding them in the corner of the cubicle. I also like eyes. I hang them on the ceiling. Oh, and I wrote that disclaimer at the beginning, like you said I should. There's some person who writes me back when I type on the computer. He says his name is Clayton. I've read his writings. It's sad what happened. I see a reflection of myself walking around. We talk sometimes, and other times he looks at me with a beastly face and shrieks. Then the world contorts itself. I'm really sleepy. I think it's been a couple of weeks since I went to bed. Oh look, it's one of the cats he mentioned earlier. I don't have an arm anymore, and I've been taking medicines lately. I'm hungry, but I don't want to make the other office workers angry. And that's it for tonight, my little hellhounds. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed tonight's scary stories, then don't forget to like the video and subscribe, and click the bell icon so you get notified every time I upload. If you have any scary stories that you want narrated on the channel, then submit them to Reddit r/homeofscares, and follow me on Twitter at homeofscares. Now, good night, my little hellhounds.